Hello, my name is Marian. I'm from the blog Miss Mustard Seed.
And I'm Kriste. I'm from the blog Rosemary and Thyme.
And this is Design Ramblings, where we talk about anything and all things design related. And today we're going to answer a viewer email, reader email. I guess it's a viewer.
Hopefully both.
That's right. A viewer who can also read and reads the blog. Okay. So this is from Lynette, and she says, "Hello, Marian and Kriste. I have a question about changing styles in my home. I have long been, and always will be, a lover of antiques. My home has always been decorated with antiques and primitives mostly, and I've fallen in love with the farmhouse look, and I've been able to incorporate lots of farmhouse touches in my home." And of course, she's used Ironstone and Miss Mustard Seed's milk paint, which a thumbs up for both of those. So she says the two styles blend nicely, but there are areas in my home that look a little bit confused about what they want to be when they grow up, which I thought was a great way to put that, because sometimes we do have like those.
That's how my whole house is.
Right. It's like my house is going through puberty right now, so just
who knows?
Yeah. So she can't quite get the mix right. She knows she needs to maybe pare down a little bit if she wants to go for the farmhouse look. Do you have any suggestions on how to blend primitive and farmhouse style to be a bit more seamless? She'd like some pictures. She thinks that would be good for us to show some suggestions. And then she just compliments us. So thanks, Lynette. We won't read all that to you, though.
That's so nice.
Little bit. It's like that's the email we're gonna read. Like butter us up. So I was really excited about this email because I think it's a great question.
Yeah. This actually hits home a little bit for me because my mom's house is a lot like that. Like when we were growing up, she was really into the primitive thing and all of that, and she's kind of transitioning a little bit. So I totally get where she's coming from on that. Yeah, I think that primitive furniture can kind of translate really easily into farmhouse. Especially, I mean, I find that most primitive furniture is like wood. Like it's just unpainted or, really chippy, and it looks like it's been living in a barn for a long time.
Or it has the old milk paint. A lot of pieces have like that original milk paint, but a lot of wear on it.
And that's something that you can freshen up really easily with Miss Mustard Seed milk paint.
This is really just a commercial. So,
but I think bringing in color is a good way to do kind of like the farmhouse style and kind of revamp furniture. Furniture's a pain to, replace if you're trying to switch styles.
But I think you can. I think what I was excited about with this is that for me, like primitives are farmhouse. And so I think you're already like almost there. Like I would just love to come over to your house because I bet that if we just like sort of took away the things that you don't really love, or maybe you love but they're just not right for your space, which I mean, we're looking at like a sea of furniture behind the camera that it's like all stuff I love, but I don't have space for it. So I think if you take that stuff away and just have those real impactful pieces that you really love, then right away I think you're gonna start to get more of a farmhouse look. I love primitive booths, actually, even though, and I know what you mean by primitive, and some of them go really extreme. Like everything's very dark, everything's very muted, and there's lots of like dried berries and little rag dolls.
The dolls.
What else is real? Like dried gourds and stuff like that, and little stitched
like needle point
sample pillows and stuff like that. So you can kind of go in that, baskets everywhere. You can kind of go in that direction. But I think like I love primitive pieces, but I love it when you pull them out of that environment and then put them in sort of the more sparse farmhouse style. Like white walls and like an awesome primitive hutch is just like, I just love that. I think it looks really, really nice. And I think you can pair that with different styles, like some Victorian chairs or even like leather club chairs, like bring those in to make it more comfortable. Of course, you could throw a French bergère in there.
Felt like it.
That's right. But I think you can have it go sort of more of a Swedish direction. I think there's a lot of places you can go with that.
I think that the farmhouse style has grown so much lately that, it's really easy to do, and it's really kind of dynamic in what you can pair with it.
I think farmhouse, that term is becoming like French. It's kind of funny when because I'll oftentimes search French on Craigslist, so I can just see like what are people calling French. And oftentimes you will find like a pair of French chairs, or here's a French provincial chest or something. But it's so funny what people call French.
Right.
That it's like I can see pieces that like, okay, French style, but some are like, it's like a mid-century dresser that somebody put a fleur-de-lis on, and that's French. And it's like,
now they can charge you a lot of money for it.
Right.
It's fancy.
I don't know if that's really French. And I think that's happening to farmhouse, that people are calling all kinds of things farmhouse that aren't. Right. But there's definitely it definitely is a dynamic style. Yeah, and
it depends on like where your farmhouse is, because there is like French farmhouse, that's like one thing, and like English farmhouse, that's another thing. So
and then there's like, you got a Midwestern farmhouse, you've got your Shaker farmhouses, a Victorian farmhouse might look very different. So I think you can take lots of interpretations from it. But I think when you're shifting styles, I think, you said, you need to pare down. And I think that's the best thing you can do, is just take a day and remove all of the little things from the room. And also all of the like smaller furniture pieces, like chairs, stuff like that. Leave in the big pieces that are going to stay there, you love, or they're functional, they have to stay there. Move them around if you want to. And then bring each piece back in and make sure you're really loving how it looks, make sure it's functional for your family, and then add in all the accessories and the wall art. And
that's when you can kind of replace stuff too, is in that process. And we've talked about before, like just pulling things out of a room and then building it around things that you really love. So like your big furniture pieces, those are going to be your anchors, that are going to kind of stabilize the room. And then from there, you can really build it to be whatever you want it to be. And it's a really good way to kind of, pare down and figure out like, wow, now that I took all of that out of the room, like I like it still, but I don't feel like I need it. And something that I'll do is I have this box that I put in my basement, and I'll put stuff down there for a month, and if I don't miss it or if I forget it's down there, I get rid of it.
That's right, like the holding. It's like limbo.
Like, I don't know.
Purgatory.
But
I think that's a great, and I'll do that with pieces I sell. Obviously, I have an avenue to sell pieces regularly, but I'll do that. I'll sort of let it sit in the studio for a while, and then I'll start to, I can let this go, and then I'll put a tag on it. And every once in a while, though, like I'll be at Luckett's, and I'm like, I'm shopping my own booth.
Like, I can't.
I'm taking this back.
Just needs to go home.
And I'll make a little pile, and my mom's just sitting there like,
oh, great.
Good grief, Marian. But yeah, so I would encourage you to take a day to do that. See if you can have a girlfriend come to help you. It's oftentimes, I think it's great to work with somebody, even if you really have a knack for decorating, it's great to have someone just kind of give their opinion, to help you move the furniture, and to see your stuff in a new way. Because I know sometimes I'm in people's houses and I get so excited about a piece, and they're like, oh, I never even really... I don't know, I never really thought about that, or never really thought about styling it in this different way. So it's helpful to have a buddy to come do that with.
Definitely. Yeah.
And when you're doing this, I've suggested this before, but I would suggest putting together an action list and a shopping list. Yep. And this doesn't have to be like, okay, now you've created all this work for yourself.
Well, it doesn't have to be overnight either. I think that's a big thing, is like living in the process is hard, but it's important when you're going through it.
Well, so you get the furniture arranging done, and then while you're doing that, you put together like, oh, I need to repaint these baseboards. I'd really like to maybe find a new chandelier for the room. I'd like to sew some pillows. So I think put together that action list, so then you sort of know where you want the room to go from there, and then put together a shopping list. So maybe you wanted to find a specific ironstone piece, like a whole bunch of lids or platters to do a wall arrangement. So put that on your list, and then you know what you're looking for when you're out shopping at a flea market or thrift stores or yard sales or whatever. And then I think you can have a much more focused design plan for a room.
Definitely. I think having some kind of vision is really good. Obviously, you can kind of play it loose, and if you find something that you just look at it and you're like, that's it, that's what I've been looking for, and I didn't know what it was, like, that's great. But I think having kind of a plan and a vision really keeps you grounded. And I think that it just takes away all the overwhelming feelings that you can get of like redoing a whole room. So.
Yeah. So you'll have to send us pictures of how your room turns out, because it sounds like you have some, like, an amazing start, like beautiful things to work with, and I bet that you'll be able to get just the space that you're envisioning with, you know, with having to spend very little money.
Absolutely.
And, probably even make money by selling stuff that you're sort of thinning out.
Right.
So I hope that helped you, Lynette. Thanks for sending an email to us. Thank you, everybody else, for watching and liking and commenting on the video. And you can find us on all kinds of social media. Yeah. You can find us on our blogs as well. We both post regularly there. And we'll see you for the next Design Ramblings. One is down. I'm hyper?
No,
You're hyper? That's like you hyper?
No, it's on the inside.
No big deal.
It's fine.